call home, but yeah.
Not sure you can call Dubai home. Well, start off by telling me what you're traveling for, what you're doing right now, and then I'll tell you why I booked you. Yeah.
Okay, so I work in clinical research, and we conduct clinical trial for the COVID vaccine.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this is what we're doing now. We are here actually to qualify sites so they can participate in the COVID-19. It's about I have like a professional reason and a personal reason. Still like in Africa, it's still a lot of people not vaccinated, and it's not easy, and the vaccine access is not easy. So yeah, like I am personally let's say motivated for the project because I think that it will be like a good chance for people to be vaccinated. Professional wise, we need to like I don't know, look, when you dive deep actually in clinical research, you will find a lot of also like gap showing, like we're not involving everybody, and the response of a woman is different from a response of man. Response of Black person is different from a white person, so we need to include everybody equally. And this is not what's happening, because you go to the easiest way. So a male doesn't have a period, doesn't have menstruation, and those things can like delay the progress of like what you're doing with the reports and so on. So let's try to so things actually goes like this, because at the end there is business.
Wow.
But yeah, like I'm very glad that now we're like expanding in Africa. We're seeing potentials. We're involving different groups of people. So let's see what will happen. But it was crazy, like 2 weeks.
I can't tell me what a day-to-day like is, but before you do, I just want to acknowledge you're right. Like it would be the easiest to get white males to do tests, which lead us to one conclusion that is very, one-dimensional.
Yes.
Yeah, but is that a fallacy? Is it easier, or are we just like, we just don't know? I know with women that makes sense. That's very interesting that the results would take a little bit longer because of our, but could we just schedule women, can we still include them in the sample and just let them know? Is there ways to balance that ease out? That's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I believe it's somehow like higher stages. So like, for example, those who are designing the reports need to make it more customized to women and men. For example, you will always find that like, I don't know, like this is something deeply, but we will always find that the adverse events you are looking for are the ones that comment between both. But for example, women usually they present, women are sensitive to any medicine. So that's why you need actually to decrease the doses. You need to follow up closely. So they are usually sensitive. So you need to design a certain protocol for women.
Yes, okay.
And something else, for example, with those old vaccines, you will find all women, with the COVID-19 vaccine, all women are presenting events or like adverse events related to menstruation. Most of them documented apart from the main clinical trial, because the main clinical trial didn't actually like focus on this. So usually like other people will do this extra like observation study or something to study this. But the main thing, no, they don't actually put it even in the questionnaire that they're asking people about.
Wow. So it's like a fundamental change that needs to occur.
Yes.
From the bones, from the bottom up. Yeah, from
designing
the
whole thing need to involve different people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible. So what was the day-to-day like where you're at right now? You traveled, are you in Africa right now?
Yes, so I started it was a crazy 2 weeks. So I started 20 March.
Yeah.
So like now like total in 14 days, I had around 11 flights.
Wow. Okay.
Like somehow now I cannot actually keep the track of time and the place and anything.
Wow.
We have been to Dar es Salaam, to a place called Tanga, Mwanza, and for me personally, Mwanza is something unique because it has the Lake Victoria, which has the source of the Nile, which goes to Egypt, and I'm Egyptian actually.
Wow, I saw.
And then we go to Kenya, so Nairobi and Kisumu, it's two different cities, and then now we are in Uganda, Kampala, and Entebbe.
Oh my goodness.
And tonight I will be back in Dubai.
Wow, what an adventure. And so try to summarize for me what this experience has been like and this exposure to all these different cities, given what you're doing there.
Yes. So the thing is, like, as like to be honest, previously, like before we start, like maybe while we were in Tanzania, like seeing what's happening in Dar es Salaam, this Tangan, I was somehow feeling okay, like this will be like somehow the same. It's Africa, it's all East Africa, so somehow people are the same, somehow everything will be the same. But then actually you discover that people are different and places are different.
Yes.
Everything is different. Nothing is the same. Nothing
I
can be
love
connected.
that. I love that, and I see why that makes everything so much more difficult. That is so beautiful. Okay, what? Because
Yeah.
okay, keep going. I just want to hear you explain this one.
like actually you need to start, like you start your energy, you start your, like, being not knowing everything
Yeah.
at every stage, because if you like seeing it's Africa, so I know, no, you get actually surprised. So the
Yes.
challenges they face are different,
Yeah.
the situations are different, their way of communication is a bit different,
Huh.
and like even the weather is different. So it's like, and we're like moving in a triangle, so it gives you how actually Africa is.
So different.
Yeah, you cannot call it Africa at the end.
You
It's like
can't
every
even call it
country.
Africa.
Yeah, each country is something. It's
Wild.
very unique in its ways.
Have you been through Europe? Would you say the same is true of Europe and the United States?
I yeah, like sadly I haven't been to Europe so far, but my plan this year is to go to Europe
Okay.
because like I believe that I get a bit of Asia, a bit of
Yeah.
Latin America, Central America, Africa. Well, hopefully this year I will get and
Europe.
see like if it's different from place to place or at the
Yeah.
end it's Europe. I believe it's also like always it's very it's not the right thing to normalize or like generalize something over all the
Yeah.
places. I'm not
No,
sure.
I don't think you can ever do that, just like you can't do that to a room of students who are from the same city. They're
Yeah,
all
exactly.
very different.
Exactly.
And I think what a humbling like self-reflection to go through every time you go to a new place or meet a new person is like starting from scratch, like being humble enough to be like, I don't know, but I think we do assume that we know a lot. And I'd say actually the world, looking at Africa, we call it Africa. We call it one.
Yes,
And
it's a one country.
yeah, it's one country for most of the world, and I'm hearing that it couldn't be any different, which also makes me, one of the first questions I was asked as an economist was, why are some countries so developed and others are developing still? Where did that happen? How did that happen? And one of the things that is the most difficult is when you have that much difference to assemble standards, communication lines, business, trade, empathy. So I'm hearing again that maybe Africa, maybe the countries that are the most different had the hardest time developing how we develop, because of their differences. Whereas maybe countries that had a little bit less difference, it might have been a little bit more easy to adopt capitalism or these systems that kind of, I wonder, that's just a hypothesis, but
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
And actually I totally agree with you because, for example, I'm like from the north, and I'm an African country, Egypt.
Yeah.
And how I see Egypt reacted to the, like, the capitalism, the globalization, and previously colonization, totally different from what I see here, either like in West Africa or in East Africa. And sadly, this is something also like, I don't know, it's very sad, but seeing country pre-colonized by, for example, the French is different from those country pre-colonized by the English, the British.
Yes.
So there is a lot of influences.
Wow.
And yes, but something very unique what I'm seeing here, for example, the Maasai people, because I deeply have a love for them. They are in Kenya, like in Masai Mara, Kenya, and Tanzania.
Yeah.
And like seeing how globalization maybe changed them in something positive. So before they used to kill the lion and the animals. So it's like they prove that they are strong.
Oh, okay.
And like people would say, like people like non-Maasai people would describe the Maasai saying that they are not violent, like they don't go to violence until you touch a livestock for them, which means like you touch any cow on the street, any animal in the street. This is that their state now. So now they know that all animals are their source of income, for example. It's like either if they eat the animals or like they use them, or it bring tourists for seeing the safari and so on.
Okay, yeah.
And now they changed their relationship with the animals completely, from killing them and seeing them as an enemy to now seeing them as friends.
Wow.
And even protecting them. So this was like something I feel like I still need to dig deeper in this, because like this is like just an insight, not based on like really like good data, just like listening to the people and seeing this. But this is like a change from the globalization on certain people that turn them from being violent to not. But in other ways, you feel like, I don't want to also generalize, but to some people, it makes them more greedy.
Yes.
Seeing people with different like look, they think that those people are source of money. They're coming for investment. So let's take whatever we can. So it's again something that everybody reacts to things
differently, right? So oh my goodness. I mean, how are we? Okay, so let's take the conversation this way. Let's assume everyone is so different and will receive information so differently and have different perspectives. How then do we coordinate and collaborate in a way that is the most equitable for all? What is the system then? Because I think, you know, we've tried these systems that they have different outcomes in different places with different people because of their culture and their experiences, etc. And we try to have kind of we have a few systems. You know, we have our like democracy, we have our communism, and we have some hybrid in between. But yeah, what is the future of politics? Since you're so into politics, like how then do you govern a local nation, a national nation, and then international relations when there's that much difference? But we need to collaborate on some things because we are also still all human. We are different, but we are in this boundary. We live and we die. We love, we hurt, you know, so what can we come back to that are the exact same within the differences? Yeah.
So I think it's like, maybe it will sound very naive, but this is what I believe. And so like going to the roots, we are all the same. We all love, we all hate, we all protect ourselves and protect the people we love. We all want to have, let's say, the basic living until we see much. So we want the more. But before, we just want the basic things. So I think we need a system that goes to the roots, not to the artificial layer that was developed after what happened, like this artificial layer that developed maybe after globalization or what, I don't know, like something that, we want no, we want to wear like those people, or we want to, no, the basic, they go to the root. And I believe like we need to have, I don't know, but I believe in the future maybe, or I don't know, maybe also again, it's a naive like thought, but we will have like small communities that is connected in things, like certain things. So small communities, and each is connected perfectly, like really connected, not like, I don't know, like when actually, you remember like like before, when the tribe, they know each other, everybody knows each other.
Yes.
The neighbors know each other.
Yeah.
So those will be communities.
Yeah.
And then there will be like collaboration between community and community, not an individual and individual, or like a nation or a nation. No, just like small community or small community, small community or small community. And for sure, like geographically, we will expand based on like, this is like this area, this is the big area. So like we'll collaborate with this big area.
Yeah.
Because we already had exposure that we know how each geographic area has different resources, for example, or it has different things. So we had this exposure already. So it will be in the future easier to try to reach them out. Not like before, because we were not aware. We just like small communities, living in peace, feeling that this is the best. But now we have the exposure that we know that we need to actually collaborate to this person, like like as what we're doing now. You're in Canada and Africa.
Yes.
So, and this is what we're looking for. Like, I believe, like such a communication, it gives me a lot.
Me
it gives
too.
me exposure, it gives me information, a new perspective of the world. And I feel in human like level that, look, I can communicate with somebody that far.
Yeah.
And we feel like we have the same ideas, for example, or like, this is very beautiful. It gives me kind of feeling that I feel, so I belong to something big. I belong to humans, or something like that.
Yes.
So I believe it, like in my opinion, or what I would like to see is something like that.
I have goosebumps because that's what I'm like trying to build. I'm just like, oh, I agree. I think small local communities, and it's so important that everyone is known, because when you become an unknown, when you're not part of, like, how isolating is that? So yes, everyone needs to have that knowledge of each other on a local level. But I think exactly what you were saying, that's what I'm trying to do with Meet the World's People, this program that gives me permission to connect with someone over in Egypt and have a 30-minute conversation about what you're up to and your thoughts and your hypotheses about the world based on how you've experienced it, which ties so nicely at the beginning of our conversation, noticing the differences, but the inherent similarities, and that we can have similar ideas even though we're so different and we were brought up differently and we are from different countries. And yet we're both seeing the same mode to collaborate with the world, right? We're seeing this like, right? And I kind of believe if we can all paint it, if we can all see it and we articulate it, we start talking about it, that's what the future actually is this like articulation, an ideation of what it could work like. Because if you can't imagine it, you can't build it. And this COVID and us being isolated and yet more connected than ever has inspired this, I think, in a lot of our minds. So it's very exciting time. I feel like, and what drew me to your profile to start was actually looking at, you've witnessed this revolution as well in Egypt. And I wanted to be like, how is that connected to this? What does it take for revolution to occur? Does it just go back to normal? Is it wasted energy? Can I apply some of those lessons to Ukraine, or to this global revolution that's like kind of happening everywhere? Like we're just, how would you tie those things together in this vision that we're kind of holding? And that's a very broad question.
I believe that the revolution was a big like turnover and a big experience I witnessed in my life, or I was, and so it's somehow like engraved inside me that whatever happens, somehow I go and reflect. I don't know, it's something started to be very naturally.
Yeah.
In hard times or in a good times, I always go and reflect, because it was very, I don't know, like important part of my life.
Wow. Okay, first of all, that's just for a minute. The fact that it's your cornerstone to kind of always revisit is huge. So sorry, keep going. I'm like, wow, it makes sense. It makes sense, right? That you play that one over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe also it was like a kind of like a real test or examination. What do you like, you know, like those like big questions, like what do you give your life for beliefs or for the people that you don't even like maybe like really like relate to them, but somehow you're human at the end.
Yes.
And I was saying yes. So like I was involved in like those demonstrations where it was like for the sake of like, so like a lot of things even happened after the revolution. So like the revolution was something very like you have like those like, we want justice, we want freedom, we want citizenship country. Then later after that, like in a very short period, a lot of things happened. Like for example, I remember that day when like the police was hurting the family of the murderers, or another day when the police or the military, I don't know, like they killed like football supporters, because those football supporters were like a part of the revolution. And even though those people like maybe they are very far from me, but I felt like, no, I can't. We were like, you know, like we were both actually having the same dream at the beginning. So I need to go and support them. Even if I might like lose my life, lose my freedom, like whatever, because it was really crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like a big examination to, do I really like
believe,
sticking to and believing to my values, and like I can do whatever it takes for this.
wow.
But I'm just like to say words, or like just like go with the slogans. And then like like how the revolution happened, like so it was basically like everybody, like okay, so people of Egypt would never believe that they can do a revolution, because the regime or the system was totally not going to this. It was it was very strong, confident, and away from this social also norm that for the youth they cannot change things. The youth are like, you know, like Egypt is like very patriarchal country, so they seeing the not only the girls but even like the young males or anybody like young, they cannot do change. So we also like, to be honest, we have like this view like maybe we cannot change anything because it's our parents, so they do the change. But then it was, I don't know what happened, it was like the social media, like we find like a platform to be connected, to talk about our dreams.
Yes.
And somehow it seems like everybody isolated had the same dream. We were not alone.
Yeah.
So we united very quickly. Like the revolution happened in 18 days. The president was very confident and strong. We stepped down the president in 18 days. So it was something like, it make us like believe in our, like, look what we did. We are the young, stupid guys. We stepped the president in 18 days.
Oh my goodness.
So it gave us some like, but then later, I believe like later was the hard times.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, we had a lot of betrayal, and like those leaders you would trust, they didn't betray you. Majority was like old people, so they go and vote against what you wanted. people would see what we like, our dreams and our enthusiasm as like, this is something, this is like the energy of youth. It's not valid. So things actually went totally in the wrong way after that.
Wow.
So it gives you like you like, we were like enjoying our victory, but then we had a lot of harsh lessons and we lost everything, I would say. Like, you will stay in a place and you find like family and maybe friends, they see that, oh, this is just like the energy of the youth, and you ruined the country. We were stable, we had a president, we had a government, we were stable, and now we don't have this. So
Wow.
we might be like Syria, we might be like Iraq. So bad what you did. And you don't understand, like, you know, like, we were doing this for you. We like for us and for you. We didn't do this just for us.
Wow.
We're not selfish. We were totally away from being selfish at those moments.
Yeah.
But we were like interpreted totally in the wrong ways. And then things went to the wrong direction after that, massively.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's a very hard thing. But like, again, I would say, even it went very bad, but I would say this is the best thing happened to my life, because I felt like I can find people I relate to. We somehow united in unexpected way, and we had a passion and I don't know, belonging to an idea and to like certain values that we would actually die for it. So I always go back, and it gives me kind of, I don't know, like energy. It gives me power. Yeah.
Of course it would. For even if it's for a brief moment of time, having a bunch of people come together to create a change is like everlasting. Because like, what an incredible amount, like 18 days of, I almost like feel like I would know that it would happen in 18 days because of how quickly, when the dominoes start to fall, right? When everyone starts to be like, we're doing this, we're in, it can transition. And I don't think it's, yeah, like you said, it's not a failure. There was this huge wave and it came back because the pendulum kind of swings, but it's swaying to this like new level. It got pulled back because it's so hard to keep that moment, like that. It's an entirely different way of thinking, and you don't realize how much structural change requires that new level, right? That's got to be like new culturally, like there's so many culture changes that need to happen to keep it there, but you swung there. Which is like, I love that you said, even though it's the most painful, it was like the best time of my life, right? And you know, you can look at that at a micro level. I feel like the same with relationships, the ones that like that really hurt. But like, I was the highest I've ever been. So it doesn't, yeah, I fell, but it's because I went that high. It's going to hurt to fall that high. A lot, and there's going to be a lot of mess, but aren't we just seeking that level of conscious collective inspire, like, you know, like, what is more than living than getting to that state with a group of people, and like, wow. And youthful energy is so potent. You know, and yeah, I wish there was a little bit less. I think it's happening, it's starting to happen, like youthful energy isn't looked down upon as immature anymore. Less than, like, it is much becoming more trusted and listening, and we've got voices now. But no, I find, so what is your thoughts? Do you think Ukraine is also doing that for the world in a way, because they're fighting for their values to stay independent?
I like my views of the Ukraine situation is not new, because I believe like the same situation happened before, like many times. We have a lot of conflicts with the same happening in like my region, for example.
Yeah.
Like what I'm seeing now is like people usually like the word, like the, I don't know, like the huge power, like the big power of the word. I don't know, they sympathize with the people that they look like.
Mm.
Got my point? For example, like in Palestine, also there was this girl. She was a young girl. She was fighting against like the soldier. He wants to get her brother and her father, and she got arrested. And then the whole world actually sympathized with her also. But then when they were asking the mother, yeah, because it's not my own words, but like the mother was explaining, she was saying that I'm happy that the whole world is supporting the girl, but she's not the only one did that. This is the same story happening in every place, in every house, where you find that the young girl trying to fight because she doesn't want the soldier to take her brother or their house or
Yeah.
like the father. But the world actually supported this girl because she was blonde. So they saw their daughters in her.
Mm.
She wasn't somebody that they don't relate to. She was like their daughters. So they sympathize with. Same with Ukraine. The same was happening in Syria. The same was happening in Yemen. Same in like many places. But like what I'm seeing that the world now is focusing, it's good actually. Like I'm seeing it as a good example, like wake up, this is not acceptable. But the thing we need to say that this is not acceptable for everybody, not only because they are European, not only because they are white. Should be like not accepted everywhere. Nobody has the right to threat anybody in their places, in their homes.
Yes.
And again, like in our roots, everybody will protect their places, their homes, their families.
Yes.
It's something in the root.
Yes.
Again, you see like how when we see it right, everybody was connected.
Yeah.
Because something hit the roots.
Yeah.
And we are all the same when we go to the roots. So yes, what I see, like I totally understand. I see it everywhere, and it proves that it's something that we all agree on. Everybody agree on, but how the message is transmitted. And I think here is like the thing. Always the message is transmitted differently.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, and like if we're not digging deeper, if I'm just like listening what the media is saying about Canada and I didn't talk to you, maybe I have a different
100%.
perspective about the whole thing.
And such a one of 1,000 opinions, one perspective of like many is being shared. And it isn't distributed, and like you said, let's go back to the medical studies, it's the white male, like it's one version because it's more difficult to get other people's perspective that's being shared and tested and made for, and that leans me back to the world's people. Like, again, if I could just be able to have a conversation with someone that was Ukrainian at this time and Russian at this time, and like just outside of that, maybe Belarus, and ask 3 people if I could, where in the world can I ask for that perspective and receive that perspective? Even social media, yes, social media helped us see that we all have the same vision and share and collect into this, but it's still not real. It's still through a screen. It's not through a person directly.
And again, it is still through somebody has the privilege to be in social media.
Yes.
Some people have a different, for example, like again, during the revolution, if you're opening social media, you will find, wow, everybody's in the street, everybody's supporting us. And it's because we, the young people that have access to social media and have this awareness, and we were lucky to have this exposure and know about those kind of things. We have the same idea. We shaped somehow like same ideas. But then you go to places where they don't have this access, or like old generation that they don't do this. They have a
Different.
totally different ideas, and they are the majority, by the way.
And they are the majority.
That's why they will succeed. However, all the world was predicting that what's seeing on social media is the one that will
That you think
succeed.
is gonna win. Yeah. I can't see a way around that unless you have one-on-one conversations regularly with a diverse group of people. And then I'm like, it has to be prescribed as much as going for a walk for 30 minutes. We now know that's a good thing to do. I hope to change user psychology so much that you have to be like, have you had your global conversation? Like, is your perspective true? Is it in tune? And it's changing every day. Like how consistently are you kind of checking in? Right? Like, and if you aren't, you are out of touch. You're losing, and by being out of touch, actually causing harm, in a way. Or yeah, I don't know. That's the only way I can see. I keep coming back to the only way I can see us understanding our differences and being able to collaborate is consistent, regular, global connections, just like this. I don't see any other way to quite give me access in the ways that I need, that I have no access to. And even on computers, the algorithm, how it's designed, is hurting me. Because the algorithm would never share you with me. And the algorithm would never be smart enough to know that I want to talk to someone from Egypt who's lived through a revolution and is really into politics. And it wouldn't be able to grab that from my search behavior or anything. And therefore, that's going to remain such a gap in my knowledge forever. And so I'm like, okay, so it can't be algorithm derived. And my pool of selection has to be so colorful. It has to be, every single country has to have representation in this world. Every age has to be represented in this world. Right? Every single city has to be represented in this world if I was to have true representation. And only then can I even have the opportunity to have a deeper understanding that's a little bit, and again, it's changing daily, right? It's like evolving so fast. In 18 days it can evolve, and you got to like stay in touch with it, right? Yeah, but I wonder if, so let's take the world 25 years from now. What's happening in your mind? What's going on?
25 years from now.
Yeah. Is it about the same? Is it very different?
For sure it will be different.
Yeah.
I believe that the change is something like you cannot unstoppable. So it will be changed. The tricky thing, if it will be changed for the people or for like the business and money and the big things. Because sadly, I feel like we're moving in two directions that not actually go in the same way. So like people have those needs, and then business and money talks and those things like go into the other needs. For example, those will support war somehow. Yeah. And then you find people like normal people, they totally against us. They don't need us. Just want to live together and it's fine.
Yeah.
So I cannot see anything actually, but I know that there will be change. Hopefully this way it goes to the people.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hard to predict. And like you said, again, looping from the beginning of our conversation, yes, it is the best to have representation in science and in something like COVID, but in the end of the day, it's a business. And so they're going to do it in an efficient way. But then you said, but we are starting to increase that. We are starting to get a little bit better. And, if I was to look at business like 60 years ago or 25 years ago in business today, you do need to do better things. The younger generation is not going to buy your product if you are a shit company.
Yes.
right? And that's interesting. And my fear, or the what thing that keeps me up, I'm like, are we going to be able to, because I think the younger generation is there more, but does the planet and the social conflict have enough time to let this group mature by the time we need that change to happen? And it's like this, it's very close to no, maybe yes, who knows. So unstable, because even if I was to go into my environmental, if I was to put my environmental hat on, we're crossing 4 of the planetary boundaries. The Earth systems are irreversibly changing. We're not slowing down consumption nearly as fast as we need to. We don't have 40 years to kind of wait for that like educational change to come through. So will the business, which controls 90% of it, because they're the ones that are like, I keep being like, is business stronger or the people stronger? Like, it's like, but at the same time, we have this like mass resignation. People are quitting their jobs. They can live from wherever. They can work from wherever. The future of work has changed forever.
Yes.
70% of us will never go back into the office. Holy, that would have never happened without COVID. We would have never gotten there ever. I believe it would have just been impossible. So I'm like, that same thing that happened in Egypt, 18 days, and you had a revolution, right? Potentially same thing, COVID, and we kind of just changed a whole bunch. So maybe these changes will stack.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I think there's 2 paths. There's like chaos, and then there's like cooperation. And we're gonna pick one. Yeah, it might be this one first, because we just love trauma. We love pain. We don't like to look at it. We just are so addicted to it. Yeah. As the last question, because I know I'm already over my time, what are you reading, or like, what are you feeling the most important to learn yourself personally or professionally, equip yourself with right now is?
Okay. I think I started this like yeah, like I don't know, so anyway, like I had a decision with myself that I need to be so vulnerable, or like respect my vulnerability.
Yeah.
So I can be influenced or affected, or like at least taking the things at the moment strongly. So bad thing, I take it strongly. Good thing, I take it strongly. And then I analyze, overthinker as well. So, but I need to live the experience to the deep. So not just like going, like, no, like I need to live it.
Yeah.
And then try to extract whatever I can, to analyze everything I have, feeling, curiosity, and then feed those curiosity. So it's reading and talking to people, seeing something, just try to get something from like whatever spiritually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have been doing this so much, and this is like also like parallel to like questions. So I ask myself a lot of questions. I ask people a lot of questions.
Me too.
And I believe this somehow opens parts that maybe I would not notice if we just like talking.
Yeah.
Like when you question, like have a question, it opens things that might like we would not like go to this place if you didn't ask me about certain questions today. Maybe we'll not talk about it. So and true. Then it didn't enlighten us, or like it didn't show us this perspective. So yes, like both of those things, those like what I like, my strategy of keep growing, I would say. I keep changing. Yeah.
That's the best note to leave off of, because I think it's a revolutionary act to ask questions. And you just confirmed what I feel every time I ask someone a question. It gives you an opening to answer it, and me an opportunity to live it, which you said, like, I just need to live it to understand it too. I can't read about it. I have to be like in it to get that, like, yeah, full 360 all the pieces for me to have to reflect on it. So I'm just gonna go to bed tonight thinking about how powerful being able to ask someone a few questions is. You know, I got to ask like 4 questions, and I am having like, you know, my brain just like pshoo, 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 and my heart is like pshoo, pshoo, pshoo.
Yeah.
So that was an excellent summary. I am so grateful for this conversation. And yeah, with your permission, if I could, I'm trying to show people the power of a conversation, the power of questions, the power of answers, just really loosely. And so that's why I record all my sessions, just to be like, guys, it's really easy. You just meet with someone, and open up. That's it. You know, come with a few questions and you'll take it. You'll never be able to have the same question twice or same conversation twice, but the amount of insights and the amount of reflection you will go through, both of you, just doing that is profound. And you can't do it alone. That's another thing. You need the collision for it to kind of happen. Yeah, in a different way. So thank you for the collision tonight. I will go leave you a review, and I'm so like proud of you for your last 2 weeks. Like, what a profound chapter. I hope you find ways to share more of it, because there's a lot to unpack in it. I'm sure you'll be reflecting on this experience for years to come. And I hope I can open another chapter, you know, just maybe have some chapters with you now as we go forward and live our lives. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy that we had this talk. I was really looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Me too. Me too. We'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. Bye, Hadeer.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good morning.